Hey everybody, welcome back to BigRedEDC. Well, today we're going to be talking about handle materials. I kind of just wanted to go through, talk about a lot of the different, types of materials that are out there that are used on the handles of knives. Now, I don't have every single material represented on the table, but I think I do have a pretty good representation of what's out there. And we're going to talk a little bit about, metals. We're going to talk about carbon fiber. We're going to talk about natural materials, and then pretty much your, plastics, man-made type materials. The first place I'm going to start, well, not only are we going to talk about those materials, but we're going to talk about what you can kind of do with those materials. Again, I'm sure I'm not going to hit every single, point or thing you can do with a handle material. But I just kind of want to tell you maybe some of my likes and dislikes about each of the types of handle materials. And, form a discussion. I'd like to hear what you think down in the comments. Do you like metal handles? Do you not like, natural materials? Do you like aluminum better than stainless? Whatever the case may be. Let me know down in the comments what you prefer as far as handle materials. And I'll definitely let you know what I prefer. But let's start out with our metal handled knives. Now, the first ones I'm going to talk about are your brass, your copper, and your bronze. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any of those in their so-called natural state, just their bronze copper colors. But what I do have now, well, when you start talking about bronze, brass, and copper knives, one of the things that I dislike about them is they tend to be heavier. Now, but for me, I believe you have to know that going into purchasing a knife like that. I mean, if you're buying a knife, like the Artisan full-size Proponent, those are just big slabs of metal. Those things, you have to know those things are going to be heavy. And I typically don't like to carry 5 to 5.5 ounces, depending on the job that I'm doing. That's pretty much as high as I like to go as far as folding knives are considered. Of course, fixed blades, your weights are going to go much higher. But I don't have any of the natural copper, brass, or bronze to show you, but what I do have are one of the things that I like about those metals, and is what you can do to them. This one happens to be a brass mini shark that my good buddy BJ over at Hilltop's Knives and Gear put a forced patina on. Now, look what he was able to make that brass do. I think that looks absolutely fantastic. Now, with this, when it first came, you had the brass handle, but then you had these blue liners. And to me, that just didn't look, it didn't look right to me. But when he put this forced patina on it, those blue liners, it works. It fits perfectly. Now, this is one of the later ones he's done. I have this other one. This is one of the first ones he did. Love this one as well, but you can kind of get the idea of the more brass colored with the blue liners, and some people like them. But me, it looked a little bit off. But after he put this patina on it, and you can start to get, he starts to pull out. This was before he, refined his process and was able to get these colors, but he's starting to pull them out. And it does look a lot better. And I like it. I like the blue liners on this knife. But then, as you saw in the first one, he's refined his process. And oh my goodness. And each one is different. And that comes from a lot of these mods we're going to talk about. Is you can basically have your own customized knife for not a lot of money. And that is the part that I think is cool about these types of metals. Now, people also like to have their metals naturally patina. You know, I've given a couple of the, you know, brass ones away. And there was an option, you know, you want a forced patina or you want it to patina naturally? And a lot of people said they want it natural. It makes it feel more like their own. And that's awesome. Because it does. It makes the knife more personal. And I dig that aspect of it. Me, I'm impatient. It's just, I'm impatient. That's why these are forced. And BJ did a fantastic job. Now, he's done work, obviously, on the blade, the hardware, and stuff as well. But today we're just kind of focusing on the handle material. Now, of course, you've got just your pretty much regular old stainless steel. Nothing wrong with it. This is a Rake P831. Nothing wrong with stainless steel at all. I tend not to gravitate towards stainless or basically full metal handles to begin with, unless I know it's a knife that I really, really want, like for my favorite designer, or as we'll see later on, a red one, you know, a little bit of a limited run, you know, something like that. Special occasion, we'll call it. But stainless steel, again, I mean, and there's this one pretty, but you can texture it, you can mill it, you can put the grip on it. It's just, I don't have a lot of stainless steel knives or full metal handled knives for that reason. The other reason is the temperature. Now, in the summertime, it's not a big deal, but in the, in the wintertime, not that it's horribly cold up here in the Pacific Northwest, but in the wintertime, when you're working on a wharf out on the water, it can get cold. That wind blowing, it's wet, it's rainy, holding on to a cold knife with cold fingers, not the most ideal situation when you're trying to cut rope or do stuff like that. So that's when I tend to gravitate towards some of these other handle materials. And I think that's still the biggest reason why I don't have a lot of them. Because I use my knives. And it's just, I think that is the biggest reason. Now, you go to titanium. A lot of full titanium handled knives out there, as well as stainless. But now this one, obviously, it's a knife by one of my favorite designers, Ray Laconico. So yeah, I'm going to own it. It's the Keen, the mass drop Keen. And it's the only way I'm going to get this knife by my favorite designer. So I'm going to buy it. Plain and simple. Will I use it as much as some of these other knives? Probably not, for the simple fact that it is a full metal handle. But again, with the titanium anodizing, you can create a knife. This one's solid bronze, but I'll show you another one here in a little bit. You can do some amazing things with titanium. Full metal altogether, as we've seen. But that is one of the cool things about full metal handles, is exactly what you can do with it. Now this is a Voguing TS05 and titanium handle. Look at the anodization that my good buddy Chad did on this. Absolutely gorgeous. Now the lighting in here does not even remotely do this thing justice. You have to get it out in a natural light. And you can really see those purples and blues just pop out of there. But that is one of the things that I like about full metal handle knives. It's just the personalization, the customization, and what you can do to make it your own. Very nice. Oh man, should have done this outside, because this is an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous knife out in the natural light. And there's a lot of people I don't do it myself, but a lot of people do. And the last one that I really talk about, I mean, is aluminum. There you go. Fully anodized red. This is the Giant Mouse Ace Iona, the Sith. This was kind of a special release from Giant Mouse to help out one of their favorite eateries during the whole COVID epidemic. The place wasn't, obviously was going through a rough time, and they released this knife. And that's why I bought this knife. One, it's a pretty cool, I love the red. I mean, the red just stands out. I love the blade. It's more than just the handle. It's the idea behind the knife, what the knife represented, people helping people. But it's red. I mean, come on. But, aluminum, just like fully, I don't have a lot of aluminum knives for the same reasons as any other metal handled knife. Now, yeah, we'll talk about it now. Now, the thing with metal handles is they don't just have to be solid metal. You can do inlays on them. Like here, with this Tucson, this one, you got a nice little carbon fiber inlay on it. I mean, and you can inlay carbon fiber, G10, Micarta. Just, there's a lot of options that you can do with full metal knives, rather than just the metal or the anodizing or the patinas. But just wanted to throw that out there. What do I like about full metal knives? The customization that you can do. That's the big one. And the big thing that I don't like about them is just the environment that we're in. They're not year-round knives for me. And that's, that's pretty much plain and simple. Now, carbon fiber. Now, when I started really getting back into knives, I really didn't care for carbon fiber. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think that's because most of the carbon fiber I saw was the laminate, the carbon fiber laminated on G10. And there's another thing you can do with knife handles. But, the more I've gotten into knives, the more knives I've seen, I have really started to like carbon fiber. And this is pretty much your standard, as you could say, carbon fiber. It's the MBK EWC, again, another Laconico knife, but yeah, I like to show off my Laconico knives. But the carbon fiber, the thing I like about carbon fiber is the lightweight, really lightweight. And it's really, that's the biggest factor I think that I like. Now we're going to see another knife here is what you can do and the different types of carbon fiber. What do I not like about carbon fiber? A lot of times they're really slick. This one is not. This one has got a decent amount of grip. Now sometimes your carbon fiber laminate they're really slick. And some of your, we'll maybe call it less expensive carbon fiber knives, they have a slickness to them that I don't really care for. Now this is your red and black marbled carbon fiber. Yeah, I like that. I like the red in there. And not only, red, blue, you can do all sorts of different colors that really, really look good. And yeah, I am really starting to like carbon fiber. Now, I said something about slickness. This is the Ferrum Forge Mini Archbishop. I actually bought this one from my good friend Justin, OCD for EDC. And when I bought this from him, I was like, man, I love that carbon fiber. It's got a really, really good grip to it. Well, there's a reason for that. Is he actually took this carbon fiber and he blasted it. Media blasted it. I can't remember exactly what media he said, but he basically blasted that texture into it because he said when he got it, it was pretty slick. But there you go. There's things you can do even with carbon fiber to make it, you know, to customize it a little bit. And for a lack of a better term, maybe make it a little better. We'll say that. Mini Archbishop, Ferrum Forge, great little knife. I love this knife. And I really love it because of what Justin did to that carbon fiber. Now, let's see, what else? Let's talk about natural materials. Now, this one is kind of a little bit of a combination. You've got that pearl, mother of pearl, and then you have a synthetic blue on there. But this is obviously a traditional pattern. It's a Rough Rider, a blue ocean. But, I mean, that is an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous knife. And that is the one thing that I really do like about traditional knives, is the variety of things, or cover materials, that the colors that are used. I mean, reds, greens, blues, whites. I mean, any color under the rainbow. They're just absolutely gorgeous knives. Now that mother of pearl there looks really, really nice. And it's such a great, it offsets that blue so well. But natural materials. Now this one's a little slick, but I kind of expect that when I buy these knives. You know, if that makes sense. I know that when I buy a knife like this, that I'm not really buying it for the grip. I'm buying it really for, well, obviously the blades. That should be the number one reason you buy a knife. I mean, just makes sense in my book. But the looks, the aesthetics. And a knife like this is just absolutely gorgeous. Now, another natural material is bone. Now, this happens to be jigged bone. And bone has been used as handle material on knives probably as long as knives have been made. Bone and even antler. That's another good one. But there again, bone can be dyed. It can be jigged. This happens to be a peach seed jig. The jigging, the contouring that's put in this knife handle. And there's so many different types of jig types that you can do on these that just, I love the way this looks. I love the coloring in this one. But that's really what the most that I like about the bone is how you can jig it, how you can color, dye it, and the colors that you can bring out, the patterns that you can put in it. And well, I'll talk about that on the next one. But because it's bone as well. But just some awesome patterns that you can put in that bone. Now here's another bone. This is smooth bone. This is a Rough Rider Copper Series Teardrop Jack. Now this is smooth bone. Again, kind of back with this one. If you're buying smooth bone, that the grip might not be the best. And I'll tell you what, the grip is really not bad on this one. I mean, yeah, it's a little slick because obviously you can see it's polished, and so, but it's not bad. The grip's not bad on this one. But I just really like the way that black smooth bone looks, especially offset by the copper. And then when you're getting into traditional patterns like this, as you can have nickel silver, you can have brass, you can have copper. I mean, sometimes they use micarta liners to add a little bit of pop of color. Again, just so many things you can do with the different types of handle materials. The colors that you can bring out. Wood. Again, this is one that you can kind of start to see it there. This is Koa Wood. This comes from my good buddy Hawaii Knife and Gear. He made this, gave it to me when we were visiting Hawaii. And this is just absolutely a gorgeous, gorgeous. The grain in this Koa Wood, and I can't get it to come out. There you go. There you can kind of start to see that tiger striping. Again, natural light. But man, the grain structure in this knife is absolutely gorgeous. And again, wood has been one of the handle materials that has been used as long as knives have been made. But again, what do I like about it? The different grain structures, the different looks that you can get out of it. Again, sometimes, not with this one. This one's got good grip. Holy smokes. Yeah, this one's got really good grip on it. Sometimes they can be a little bit more, smooth. And maybe not have as much grip. But the grain structure that you can bring out, and it'll really come out in this one. This is Burl Wood. This little Rough Rider artisan wood, lockback. But just the grain structure. Now, Burl Wood, and I know I explained it when I reviewed this knife, but Burl Wood, it's a grain structure that you get when a tree has been damaged, and then the tree will almost grow this like tumor on it. And inside these tumors, the grain structure just goes haywire. I mean, you get swirls, and you can, look at that. The grain, circles, it's not just a straight grain, it makes some absolutely fantastic grain. And if you, they make bowls and tables and all different stuff out of, and up here in the Pacific Northwest, burls actually get stolen off of trees. Because if it's the right tree, and I think maple burls are really popular, but people have actually had burls cut off of trees on their property because of the value of the wood, just because of those crazy grain structures. But it can really make for a beautiful knife handle. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the micartas. Now this is a smoother micarta. You can tell it's been polished and stuff. The grip is still pretty darn good on it. This is the micarta work knife, 2038, Rough Rider 2038. This is a very sought after knife. One just sold on eBay. Brand new, you bought them for $50. One just sold on eBay. Or, let me back up. They sold new from Rough Rider for like 15. I think I said 50. I just saw one sell on eBay for around $50. And now this is a smoother micarta, which isn't bad, but I prefer the rougher micarta that's got the little bit more grip to it. Like on this one. This is the Artisan Centauri. Yes, it's another Laconico knife, but it's a really good example. Now here, this is actually a good example of a couple different. You have the micarta, but then you have micarta and titanium. So that you can do micarta and carbon fiber, micarta G10. You can, the possibilities just go on and on. But I like linen micarta. Linen micarta is good, but I prefer the burlap micarta, because the burlap micarta just seems to have just a little bit more grip to it. But micarta is another very popular handle material on knives. Yeah, I like me some micarta. Oh yeah, sorry. But again, micarta, you do micarta inlays on knives. There's a lot of different things you can. I've had micarta that has been really slick. The first TRM Atom that I ever felt, brand new out of the box. That micarta was really slick, but over time and during use, it roughs up a little bit. The oils get in the micarta, and it really starts to get that grip to it, which is nice. But I really like micarta. Your like natural unpolished micarta due to the grip, without a doubt. Great grip on a micarta knife. And lastly, we're going to kind of talk about more of your man-made, your plastics. I know we're getting kind of long here, but first off, we're going to talk about this is the Sage 5 Lightweight. It's FRN, but you have the FRN, the GFN, the GRN, basically your glass reinforced nylon type of handle that, you know, it comes in several different varieties, so to speak. I don't have every single one of them, but this FRN is it's a good representation. Now here, I mean, this one, you've got bidirectional texturing on it, so it's got a good grip either way. A good thing about it is it's usually fairly light. The thing I don't like about it so much is sometimes it just has, to me, it has a really cheap feeling to it. Not that it is cheap, but it just kind of has a little bit of a cheaper feeling in hand to it. But it's definitely lightweight. You can texture it. You can, I mean, wow. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm white knuckling that thing and my thumb's not going anywhere. So you can really get some good texture on it, good gripability, you know. But like I said, it seems sometimes it almost doesn't feel like I have a solid knife in my hand, if that makes sense. I hope I'm explaining that correctly. But the Sage 5 Lightweight overall, really good knife. Now you've got several different varieties of basically plastic. And that's kind of what your FRN, it's more of a nylon based, but your plastic, like you have Benchmade, Grivory, however, again, extremely lightweight. And again, you can pretty much texture it however you want to get the grip, you know, that designers want in their knives, manufacturers. I mean, we all know the bug out is this, I mean, it's a small knife, but super lightweight, and that is due to pretty much your handle material, how lightweight that handle material really is. Another one, you find this on more, I find this more on traditional knives, but it's your Delrin. Delrin is basically just another plastic that is used in handle materials. And I always was told I had to have a yellow trapper in my collection, and I think now I have 3. A yellow Delrin trapper. It's just a thing, I guess. I don't know. But I have at least 2. I think I have 3 now. But another plastic handle, plastic material that is used in handles. Now, this one is probably, right now, it's probably the most widely used of the plastic handles, and that's obviously G10. Again, fairly lightweight. Now you've got your liners, you know, and I mean, I didn't talk about liners a whole lot, but I mean, there you go. You got stainless steel, you got brass. Those are really your 2 main types of liners on knives, are stainless and then brass on your more traditional knives. You know, your full titanium knives, they don't have liners on them because they're full titanium. Your stainless, brass, those brass knives have stainless liners on them. So, but yeah, stainless for your, you know, traditional folders, or excuse me, modern folders, and then brass and sometimes nickel silver on your traditional knives, traditional folders. We'll have those for liners. But G10, I mean, it has to be the most widely used plastic-ish handle material on the market right now. And why? Well, it's inexpensive to use. You'll find it on most of your budget knives. You can You know, you can contour it, you can texture it. You know, obviously this is the Centros from CJRB, Dylan Mallory design. But yes, you do notice that I use a lot of my favorite knives in these videos. Well, they're my favorite knives, so why wouldn't I? But again, what do I like about it? Lightweight. It can be textured. It's, you know, has pretty good gripability even when wet. Cold weather. It's not going to be as cold as your metal, or, you know, it's pretty much a good all-weather handle material, as pretty much any of these are, you know. But obviously, the most widely used. And then the last one I kind of wanted to cover is this one is from Cold Steel. It's the Finwolf, and this is their GrivX. And again, it's basically another plastic, you know, type of handle. Again, lightweight, can be textured, but it's really, oh yeah, that's got good grip. Oh yeah. I mean, but as you can tell, there are so many different and wide varieties of handle materials out there. And like I said, this isn't all. I'm sure somebody in the comments will say, hey, you forgot about. And, you know, not necessarily I didn't really forget about it, or I did, but I don't really have a good representation for it. That could be another reason. But there you go. Some other things, just some quick things that you can do. You got your inlays. There's your G10 with a carbon fiber inlay. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's a carbon fiber. I think that, yeah, carbon fiber, a more laminate type. Not full carbon fiber. This is your Civivi Plethoros. Isham design. Just some really cool things. I've never really talked about handles or handle materials on the channel, and I just kind of wanted to take an opportunity to do that. I know it was a long video, guys. Sorry about that, but just one that I really kind of wanted to do. And like I said, let me go down in the comments, guys. What is your favorite? I'll tell you right now. I mean, excuse me. My favorites is probably going to be the G10 and Micarta are probably my two absolute favorites. As I said, the carbon fiber is really growing on me. I do like carbon fiber a lot more than what I used to. The full metal, yeah, they definitely have their advantages, is what you can do with them. And then, of course, your natural materials, I mean, you can just get a wide variety. Well, you can out of any of them, really. But thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate you hanging on with me, checking out the video today. As always, like, subscribe, leave me that comment. You know I love talking to y'all. Until next time, guys. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.